this way, a car this way, a car that way. Like that.
We'll go ahead and call the June 18th Plan Commission meeting to order. We have a roll call, please, Meredith.
Yes, Jason Carnahan.
Here.
Bill Hartman.
Here.
Bill Van Wy. Here. Sandy Harrison.
Here.
Jerry Yoder.
Here.
Frank Pulver.
Here.
Suzanne Davis.
Here.
Angie Holt.
Here.
Tyler Lanning.
Here.
Alicia Rogers. Mike McCarowicz. Andrew Cruz.
Here.
Chris Gallmer. And Meredith Wright here.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll now have a moment if someone would like to lead us in a quick word of prayer.
Pray. Father God, it says in your word that where two or more are gathered, you will be here also. We invite you into this Commissioner's Court tonight, Lord, that you might make our decisions true and make them to your will and for your glory and for the residents of DeKalb County. In Jesus' name, amen.
All received the minutes from the May meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion for approval and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Minutes are approved. Also in the packet was the claims from May. Same thing, unless there's questions or corrections, take a motion for approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve claims from May. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Claims are approved. No old business, Chris? New business, one petition 25-22, Schlemmer, if I say that wrong, Enterprises LLC requesting a zone map amendment for approximately 5 acres from C4 highway commercial to and I2 low industrial. Property is located at 6481 Merchants Drive and 6485 Merchants Drive, Legato, Indiana. Chris.
All right, so in your packets, we have a staff report there for Schlemmer Enterprises, 6481 and 6485 Merchants Drive in Legato. If you remember just a couple, 3 or 4 months ago, maybe, or no, it's been longer than that, we did a development plan and replat for API Construction. This is just across Merchants Drive from that. Approximately 5 acres from C4 highway commercial to I2 low intensity industrial. The petitioners are requesting the zone map amendment so they can increase their prospective buyers or renters of the property to I2 district. Page 2 is the location map. Again, it's those 2 parcels there. There's nothing on the northern parcel, and then to the south is the old indoor paintball park. Page 3 is just a zoomed up image of that. Page 4 shows the existing zoning. Surrounding it is all C4. Surrounding it to the north and to the west and east is C2, and then further to the west is I2 low intensity industrial. So while this is sort of kind of considered spot zoning, there is industrial uses and zones relatively close. Future land use map shows a commercial use. Again, to the west of that shows an industrial use. But as we've discussed on other rezones, the future land use designation doesn't restrict the zoning districts that can go within that. Proposed zoning map on page 6 just shows what it would look like as a zone if it was changed from the C4 highway commercial to the I2 low intensity industrial. Page 7 there shows the differences between the C4 highway commercial and the I2 low intensity industrial. The permitted uses within the C4 are more highway oriented uses, things that people may need if they, were driving down the highway, for instance. Permitted in the I2 is more manufacturing, assembly, flex space, research center, some tool and die shops, warehousing, things of that nature. So more uses that would better suit the building that's there and better suit the site. There were questions about some outdoor storage, which outdoor storage is a development standard within our zoning ordinance, so it's not part of a permitted use. So if this use would need outdoor storage, that would be permitted as a development standard of the underlying zoning district and the use within that district. Pretty simple on my end, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Jody, I believe, is here to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Is there any questions or discussion for Chris from the board? Or any questions for Jody, since she's here?
Okay, since you brought it up. What are you talking about, outside storage? Is that just temporary storage? You said that?
No, there was the need for anything to be stored outside, outdoor storage of materials or trucks,
Pallets?
yeah.
So there's not so you're not allowing it for a long-term storage outside?
Correct. It would be for the business use.
Business use, so it's
Right.
constantly moving. Make your diet, Chris.
Any more board discussion for Chris or Jody? Anybody from the audience wish to speak for or against this petition? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move on to the findings. Mr. Cruz.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go through this zone map amendment rezone proposed findings. The findings that we will be discussing are all simply proposed, and they're not final until it's actually voted upon by the Plan Commission. I'll start out with jurisdictional findings that we have for each of these applications. We've got application completed and filed on May 16th, 2025. Meredith?
Yes.
Legal notice published in the Star on July 6th and publisher's affidavit received.
No, not July.
Oh, July 6th? Oh, should it be June 6th?
Yeah, it should be June there.
All right, we will change that to June.
Yep.
It'll be hard to do that ahead of the actual date arriving.
Yes.
All right. Certificate of mailing notices sent and receipts given to staff.
Yes.
Non-objection letter from the County Board of Health dated May 22nd.
Yes.
Non-objection letter from the County Highway Department dated May 19th.
Yes.
Non-objection letter from the DeKalb County Soil and Water Conservation District dated May 19th.
Yes.
Non-objection letter from the county surveyor dated May 19th.
Yes.
And the letter from the DeKalb County Airport Authority is not applicable in this situation. Now we have the Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO, and statutory matters that have to be considered. There's 5 different matters, 5 different issues that the Plan Commission has to consider before they make this decision. And I'll go through them one at a time, 1 through 5. and any discussion that you want to make on that. We need to have some discussion or some statement on each one of these points. Number one is the change in zoning paying reasonable regard to the comprehensive plan.
I would say yes, this general area is zoned both for industrial and commercial, and it fits within that, and the future land use doesn't require specifically that we stay within that, that commercial designation.
All right. Number two is the change in zoning paying reasonable regard to the current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district.
Yes, the existing development, or the existing surrounding area is commercial and industrial, so the change in zoning will be consistent with the surrounding properties and the current conditions and character of the current structures and land uses in the area.
Number three is the change in zoning paying reasonable regard to the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted.
Yes, the proposed zoning district is desirable for this property and the area.
Number four is the change in zoning paying reasonable regard to the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction.
Should not be disturbed.
Number five is the change in zoning paying reasonable regard to responsible development and growth.
Yes, in changing the zoning of the property to I-2, low intensity industrial, the Plan Commission will be promoting the desired use of the land while promoting responsible development and growth.
Now, the planning staff has given a recommendation, and they're recommending a favorable recommendation to the county commissioners for the requested zone map amendment. And should there be any conditions made by the Plan Commission and adopted by the county commissioners, they shall be written and recorded in the office of the DeKalb County Recorder. Back to you.
Okay, is there any more discussion on this petition from the board? If not, we are looking for a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the commissioners on this petition.
I would move to submit a favorable recommendation to the county commissioners.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for a favorable recommendation. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Bill Hartman.
Yes.
Bill Van Wy.
Yes.
Sandy Harrison.
Yes.
Jerry Yoder.
Yes.
Frank Pulver.
Yes.
Suzanne Davis.
Yes.
Angie Holt.
Yes.
Tyler Lanning.
Yes.
Jason Carnahan.
Yes. Was all of the petitions that we had. Now do we have a,
You guys can leave if you want to. You don't have to remain. Thank you, guys. I'll be in touch about the commissioners' meeting tomorrow. I'll shoot you an email. Yep, no worries.
do we have a comprehensive plan update for?
I have a little bit of one. We have opened the online workshop, which is basically what the public workshops that y'all attended. It's basically just an online version for people who weren't able to attend the in-person ones. So we got that up until June 30th. Our next steering committee meeting is coming up, I believe, July 23rd. And then our Big Ideas Open House is going to be in September, which I'm coming to the commissioners on Monday to see if we can use the rotunda of the courthouse to do that. So keep that in mind for Monday, Bill, after work hours. So keep that in the back of your mind. I got flyers if people want to post these up somewhere. If you go to the coffee shop in Garrett, or wherever you hang out in Garrett, post these. That would be helpful for us to help get the word out. So that's the update there.
Okay. Do we have any reports from cities and towns from meetings?
Hamilton canceled their meeting. Butler held their meeting updating the their comprehensive plan and editing it. They also are working on parking problems, and the city council is going to get involved and help the citizens figure out ways to get more parking without parking on, there's a grass strip along the roads, and they would prefer the citizens not park on the grass strips. So they're trying to figure out ways to find parking for these people at their houses without damaging the city property. And then they're looking at increasing green spaces. There was an appliance store in Butler, Likes Appliance, and they're going to turn that into a city parking lot. And then they're also working on a hydrant problem at East Side where the new addition of the gym is. That's what's going on in Butler.
Actually, he's still dead. They have a new smiley face.
New smiley.
I saw that,
She needs to darken her eyelashes a little bit.
yeah.
I'm up there and fix it, Bill.
Oh, yeah. That ain't gonna happen. After I seen them paint that, definitely ain't gonna happen.
In Auburn, they brought, the planner brought forth some changes to the UDO, and one was a bit interesting where they wanted to do away with the language of having public meetings. Well, they called them public, it's in a meeting, hearing. It's a public hearing. Public hearing. So then they wouldn't have to send out, mail it, they wouldn't have to mail notices, and they wouldn't have to put any legal disclosure in the newspaper. Luckily,
Nothing shady about that.
luckily, we had one person in the audience who stood up and said, I read the new legal notices every day first thing. That's how I know what's going on. And you should let the neighbors know. You should mail that out to them. But he was saying that a lot of the other cities don't have it. They don't have that requirement to send out legal notices or post it in the paper. So anyway, then it got approved with that taken out. So now we're going to stay the same as we were, which was interesting.
Waterloo, we met earlier this week. There was they're interested in putting a basketball academy. I didn't get the exact address. The train was going by as they were describing it. It's just a concept right now. They'd be working with Jaguar Construction. It'd be sort of a shooting academy. It'd be open to members of the community and the surrounding community. It'd be sort of a barn turned into something that would expand opportunities in Waterloo and throughout the community for kids that can't do travel leagues and don't want to spend that kind of money, but they still want to get expert training from the littles to, high school students that might be interested in pursuing a college career in basketball. So I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. More to come on that. I don't think there's any rezoning or anything required for that, but that's pretty exciting for Waterloo. We did submit the third application for the grant, the Okra grant for maybe Andrew can tell me exactly where that basketball academy was.
Okay, so if you remember the old Dairy Queen, there's it's on 427 North going out of town. There's like a wedge of property. It's just west of the trailer court. And they're going to be, their plan would be to build that building there.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, the old Dairy Queen. But we did submit they submitted the Okra, for the Okra grant. We should know by next week how the results were. There were lots of opportunities for, each round has been improved. There are other opportunities to score additional points. So we're hoping that that gets us over the line to qualify for that grant that will help with the comp plan update for Waterloo.
Garrett, nothing? Garrett? Okay. Do we have any comments from any of the public in attendance? You make sure the blue light is on and then state your name and address, please.
Name's Randy Drake, 209 School Street, St. Joe, Indiana. And since there was updates on all the towns, I'm the president of the Town Board of St. Joe. And just to let you guys know, we are working in our cemetery. We have fencing that we're putting around the backside. We have the local metal worker that built them for us, and then Reinhardt's went ahead and powder coated them for us. So we're working on that. We also have a new thing down at Wild Cherry Park. It's a small encasement that has frisbees, footballs, kickballs, you know, things for the kids to play with. It's a new thing that we put out there. We also are working on our lowland area. Mary Simcox is heading that up. We're making it into a nice little nature preserve type of thing with blue herring. The other thing that we're working on, we've got new roads, new drainage through the main part of town. The last 4 or 5 years, we put roads down the back streets. We've got new sidewalks throughout the whole town. Just want to say that St. Joe is moving up, and we're hoping to become more of a part of meetings like this, so we can learn from you guys on how to make our town a little bigger and better. Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience speak on anything? Okay, I don't think we have anything else. We will adjourn. Yeah, we can reopen the meeting, unadjourn the meeting.
Come on up, Mary.
You did, but they didn't realize. I could see them questioning, so I thought you did fine.
I was waiting for one of them to come up and start the conversation, but I will. It's Mary's fault, I blame her.
Yep.
She's gotten blamed for a lot.
You can't blame Mary for.
I know. I can't blame it for everything, but hey.
Thanks.
So I went to the town of, Zebulon Griggs contacted me about the town of St. Joe's comprehensive plan and the map that's in front of you. One thing that was brought up was that the town of St. Joe has, as you all know it as, extraterritorial jurisdiction. Something that Auburn, Garrett, Waterloo, Butler, Hamilton has. Met with them. It is in their comprehensive plan. It is in their map. Comprehensive plan was adopted in 2011, I believe, October of 2011. So it predates a requirement the Indiana Code has, and Andrew and I discussed this and sent an email to Eric, but Eric Weber, their attorney, predates an ordinance or an Indiana Code that requires there to be basically an interlocal agreement between the county and the municipalities to practice extraterritorial jurisdiction. The one thing that we found out, which I'm assuming Eric brought this to your attention last night, was that the entire comprehensive plan would have to be recorded in the recorder's office for that to be valid.
It was.
I was going to say, I think I have a copy.
Yeah, if it was recorded, that would.
We asked Eric for a copy of the recorded document and haven't gotten that. So we would
We
need
just
to.
talked with him. I mean, I just emailed him about it yesterday, I think. So.
Right, I would assume
not
that he
at
would
that
have brought
time.
it up at the meeting, though. That's my only
Yeah.
qualm there. So if I can get a copy of the recorded document.
Okay.
So if it is recorded, then I don't believe that it makes the approvals that we have had within their area void.
I don't know. I have to look into that.
I don't, it would be a case law issue probably of if a municipality had extraterritorial jurisdiction that we just plain didn't know about until it was researched. Then does that mean that, for instance, the rezone that was done on Lynn Reinhardt's property at 64 and State Road 1, does that mean that that is not valid? Even though it went through our planning commission, we thought we had the jurisdiction of that.
Right, if we didn't have the jurisdiction, it might be void.
It might be void, right.
Yeah.
So that's something that Andrew and Eric will have to go in and research and let us know what to do. But in the meantime, the map that you have in front of you is the map that the town of St. Joe has in their comprehensive plan. Also names, them having basically a land use map. It's actually text in their comprehensive plan as well. So I don't believe that it's not valid. The only thing I would need to see is the recorded document from
If it was recorded, I think then that it's a legal document. If it wasn't recorded, as the way I read the statute, and Eric might have a different reading of it, but if it's not recorded, then it would not be in effect, even though it's in your comprehensive plan. But if it did get recorded at that time, then theoretically, you guys would have the jurisdiction over that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I met with
Apparently
them,
the Plan Commission just didn't know that at that time.
and one thing that I discussed with them is, okay, if this is, let's say that everything fell into place and they have the jurisdiction, they don't have the zoning done for these areas yet. So they would need to create zoning districts comparable to what the county has. And then I told them that I would help them come up with what those are and get that into their zoning ordinance.
Okay.
You want to give an update now? Perfect.
Update now. Actually, I personally took the comprehensive plan to have recorded. Katie Firestone was the recorder at the time. We have a copy and should have a copy of that receipt that paid, because I paid and then was reimbursed by the town.
I think the first page has
The stamp on, so we can take care of that ASAP. And as we were enlightened and glad that Chris came and shared and gave us all a light bulb moment. We, the town of St. Joe, I was the clerk treasurer at the time. The board members were eager to do the comprehensive plan. It was suggested that we do a comprehensive plan so that any funding that we required through Oprah, any funding that we needed for special projects, we needed a comprehensive plan to have that happen. So in all earnestness, the town board members at that time we got the planning grant through Oprah, then the town did pay for the development of the comprehensive plan. The unfortunate thing, which we just found out last week, is the ball didn't go down the court, and that's the Indiana pun, I'm sorry.
The whole way, didn't make it in the basket.
Yeah. But we are eager to, and unknown that there was such a thing as a statutorial district. So we're eager to get that taken care of. So we want our town to grow. Right now, we're kind of stymied. Our boundaries are getting closer and closer. And this is an opportunity to develop those districts, which we try to, with this legend here, try to match the zonings to the county at that time in 2011. So hopefully we can get everything straightened out and come back and have some positive outcomes with you folks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so the districts that are on that map are just the land use districts. So in their zoning ordinance, they only have town-specific districts. So working with them and working with me, we will create districts that are agricultural, rural residential, so that we aren't, or sorry, I hate to say we, so that they aren't having, you know, an R2 district in a cornfield, right? So like, so it makes sense. So that will just have to be done through their town board. I trust that Mary got this recorded. I don't think that she didn't, but if not, then
yes.
we would just revert back. But if it is, then county theoretically,
jurisdiction.
I didn't want to say loses, but yes, loses that jurisdiction.
It's not a bad thing
Right.
because it means the local community is stepping up and planning ahead
Right.
and zoning ahead, which is a good thing.
Right. So anyway,
So,
I wanted to bring that forward to the plan commission just so you had.
so if that is recorded, then what happens with the rezone?
That's what
It
Andrew
may
and
be
Eric will
void.
have to look into. And if there's no,
But then there's no underlying zoning there at
Yeah, I
all.
was gonna say, then there would be no
so
zone.
did you all put a moratorium on your zoning?
Yes,
Okay,
last night at the town board meeting.
okay.
Yes.
So that was a suggestion that Eric and I had, was put a moratorium on your zoning. Let's get that done as quickly as we can so they can adopt, not a new zoning ordinance, but get the districts that are in that extraterritorial
Identified.
jurisdiction
Yeah.
done so that they can play catch up. So I
Someone
think,
probably should notify Lynn Reinhardt.
Hey, Lynn,
Oh, there you are. So,
Here.
yes,
Yeah,
there you go.
he's here.
so we'll need to just look into that, Andrew.
And Eric Weber will need to look into it on behalf of
Yeah.
the town and see what's going on.
Yep.
And to share with you folks, I was the clerk treasurer, served on the board for quite a while. Right now, I currently volunteer my time to uplift my community in each and every way that I can. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Does the plan commission have any questions on that? New bit of information we learned? Literally on Thursday? Last Thursday? Yeah.
But this map doesn't show the ETJ.
That is the,
That is
so
the
that is the area.
The whole- the colored-
area that's in white is, or sorry,
no, the whole thing,
yeah, the whole thing is the ETJ, the black boundary. Go to your
all the
thing right
colors,
in
the
the
whole
middle.
big rectangle.
That's all the town of St. Joe, yep, what you were
That
outlining.
is,
And then everything outside of that,
Everything that's colored.
56, yep, everything
whole
outside of that.
The yellow is the town, I think, right, on there?
It's the,
Yes.
it's the corporate limit.
Oh, the black outline,
So
okay.
this is their town limits, right?
So then the
Right.
ETJ is this whole big,
This would be their
Yes.
right.
jurisdiction,
oh,
everything outside of that.
okay.
They're around a little town.
It is,
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
but it
It's
can be like a mile or two around.
big ETJ.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
It's 2 miles.
it's like 4 times bigger than the town.
Right, so they would do all the permitting through improvement location permits, rezones, development plans, property splits would be done through
So
their plan commission.
how much of that Graber stuff might potentially be void as well? That we did a while
I mean,
back?
I don't know. We don't know if it's void or not until we do the research. So how much of it?
Grandfathered some kind of way, or?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because that's, I mean, that's the only thing, that and Lynn's is the only things I can think of we did in that area recently. Well, I guess
It's out in there.
that's on the edge of the BZA thing we just did too, with the wall is in that ETJ.
I don't know. I mean, I
was talking
I
about
don't know
the
those
other side.
answers. So I don't want to give a hypothetical because
Okay.
it just is going to cause more confusion. So I just don't know. Lynn?
Are you going to have any public discussion or comments since this came up?
This is,
Yeah,
now would be
go
your
ahead,
time.
yeah.
So go
Okay, I guess I just kind of walked in on it. It's kind of troubling to find out that you're a part of it and not be aware of anything. Not be aware of their discussion, not being aware that it was going to come up at the meeting tonight.
Okay.
And not knowing what is the state statutes that permit ETJs. I know they're out there. Never been a part of one. So I guess I have a lot of questions that way. Because we're talking about a town, a small town, St. Joe, that has an elected town council. Those people in this ETJ would have absolutely no representation on that board. Yet they're going to make a decision on properties outside of the town.
So the
I guess that's concerning.
So the extraterritorial jurisdiction requires that the Plan Commission have a member within the extraterritorial jurisdiction. So there has to be a member on the Plan Commission that will represent that ETJ area. They have to live or own property within that ETJ area. The ETJ, what we call ETJ, extraterritorial jurisdiction, is under 3674205 is the Indiana code for that. And then there is additional Indiana code statutes for the interlocal agreements, and that is under Indiana code 3674. Oh, it's all under 205. 3674205.
Okay. So if it's,
And there's also an issue if there's no underlying zoning currently in the ETJ.
Right, but we don't, that's not really the county's.
Right, I'm just saying,
Right,
you may want to seek legal counsel as
Right.
far as what zoning is there, if any, currently.
But
So, I mean,
when this was done in 2011, Indiana code did not require there to be the county's agreement as there is now.
right.
The only way they would is if the town of St. Joe would rewrite their comprehensive plan, if it would get updated, then there would need to become an interlocal agreement between the county plan commissions and the county legislative bodies, so the town council and the county commissioners. But when it was done in 2011, that wasn't a requirement.
so you're saying if it was done today and there was an interlocal agreement, the county plan commission would have some input
Correct.
into
County plan commission would
forming
and
of
the
that
county council.
ETJ, maybe
County
such as the size of it, because what? It can be up to
Up to
2
2 miles outside of there, yep.
And I mean, I haven't even saw the map, so I don't know how far it goes. Other than I hear I'm part of it. I don't know. I did hear this morning something about it because it was discussed at their town board meeting last night. I did briefly look. It looks like the town of St. Joe is maybe 320 acres, I would guess. What's the size of the ETJ? I'm guessing it's multiples of what the size of the town is. I mean, we're not talking about Fort Wayne.
So they've got a larger map over there. I don't know if are there extra copies of the map?
Yeah, I can say.
You can have that copy. There you go. But
See the black? That is the,
So the
that's.
Town of St. Joe
That's the
comprehensive
St.
plan was drawn up in 2011, and presumably it was recorded at that time as well. It was in 2011 or somewhere thereabouts. So it's been in place all this time, and so, and typically, and there was no interlocal agreement, but with the
it
county.
didn't have to be
But do we have an interlocal agreement with every other
because they're all new.
similar community? Because
Yep.
and something didn't trigger it to be on our radar.
I have no idea what didn't trigger it. And I'm surprised because Christy Sturts, who did our comprehensive plan in 2017, did their comprehensive plan in 2011. So how there was not memory that there was an ETJ when, I just don't know. And to be honest, until Zebulon, who's on their town board, brought it to my attention, I would have no idea unless I would have read their comprehensive plan. And so, yeah, there was just, I believe the ball was dropped by their the consultant that the county hired versus.
Well, hopefully we can,
Yeah.
as a town looks at it, you said there, I mean, the town will consider what the county zoning needs underlying, and that we can work through that.
Right. So the county won't have any say in what the town
They will work.
uses as their zoning, right? They'll have to do that and get that done in a timely manner, which I trust they will.
So you say work through it, but I also hear it sound like you really don't have anything to work through because they can do what they want to. There's nothing that they need to come to you as a board for, is that?
They won't need to work with the board. I told them that I will help them as much as I can
Sure.
to get the county districts similar to what is in our UDO, but they will have to adopt that language, correct?
But there wouldn't be
Explain.
nothing that would be binding that you could
Correct.
make them do.
Nope.
It's, if what they have was done, they've got the rights to do
Yep.
everything on their own.
And that's the way it is for Auburn and Butler and Garrett and Waterloo and,
And 2011 was the first comprehensive plan for St. Joe? Okay. It was the first one, so we're looking at, the only areas of concern would be like Lynn's, is between 2011 and 2025, any of that common area
Well, yeah, there's
would have to be looked at, and the attorneys would have to weigh in
been
on
like at least 3 different things.
what needs to happen with those, reevaluated or whatever.
Oh, yeah, and we did, so, yeah, there's several. There's several things we've done in that time span that would have to be, get an answer to. And that could be like a work together to let it go as was, as we did it or whatever.
I know, I did pull up the county's Beacon GIS map. It doesn't even show a thing that you can look at zoning for St. Joe. So I didn't even realize and know that St. Joe
correct,
done
so
their own zoning.
Town of St. Joe is not part of the county city GIS
Okay.
agreement, conglomerate, whatever you want to call it. So they will not be on Beacon. The only way they would be allowed to be on Beacon is if they join the county city GIS.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Melvin Sterry, St. Joe. I'm probably in the middle of all this with 40 head of cattle, hay fields, barns, stuff that I invested in. And about 6 months ago, we heard the rumor about this. And I just want to know if it's still true or not. I went into the office and talked to Chris about zoning, rezoning an ag or something, and he told me at that time that there was nothing to worry about. It's been a farm way back when settlers had it, and that there's nothing to worry about, and I wonder if that's still true.
Well, that was prior to me knowing about this new information. So as we just said with Lynn, it's up to the town now to create zoning districts that they want to see within these areas. So it's not really the plan commission, county plan commission's role anymore. So I didn't know that back when I spoke to you.
I know, but that's where we made the mistake at.
Well, but I think
I
there
didn't-
still would be grandfathering, potentially. I mean, I'd have to research that.
Right, but they would have to have it in their zoning ordinance to have non-conforming uses. I'm assuming they do, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that all has to be looked
It all
at
have to be
through
looked at.
the town board. These are all valid concerns, and I'm not trying to dismiss them, but it's the town, it's really now up to the town to have these discussions with the property owners within that area.
Well, if I'd had my way, I'd have rezoned it back then.
I don't know what to tell you.
Something to think about.
Ben Sturry, 5591, County Road 75A. I've been attending St. Joe's meetings since I got the word of, they used the word annex. Kind of scared the crap out of me. That's when I did approach Chris. We talked about the R1 because I had concerns. And now today it's bit me in the butt with them concerns. We obviously butt right up against St. Joe. We do have ag, cattle. Lynn wouldn't even known anything about this if I didn't go to the meeting at St. Joe last night at 6:30. That was the first time I ever heard anything about a moratorium. I talked to the lawyer. They had about 3 sentences. One of the board members didn't even know anything about it, what the moratorium was for, but there was 2 people that voted and made that decision just like that. And now we're at their mercy. We got a town of maybe 300 people, and they're going to try to tell us what to do with our property now. We're back to land rights. The country's doing just fine. There's plenty of development out there. We're building houses, updating our houses, and now they're going to tell us if we can build a barn, if we can't build a barn. We look at the town of St. Joe, it is what it is. It's St. Joe. I enjoy the town. I drive through it 100 times a day. Love Riverdale. But we look at what the board members of St. Joe have done. They don't follow. They don't do improvements. The city, obviously, or the town or state put new roads in, but you're having people that can't control their own town with just their ordinances that are now going to tell us what to do with our properties. This hasn't been told to anybody. Like I said last night, 6:30 was the first meeting. I've been to the other meetings. I've read through all of their meeting notes all the way back to what's been posted. I want to say back to the year 23. That's been posted. But in a matter of one motion in a moratorium, it's done. We're screwed. They can do what they want with us. They can tell us our investment, oh, now you got to move it out. We've been fixing up the properties, putting in fencing. It's been a farm forever, since about 1884. Now we have 2 people that have never lived in the country, 3 people, that are telling us what to do with our lives. I hope there's a way that you guys can put a pause to this. I think you're opening up liability also with some of this, with maybe some of the other people that you guys have done zoning. Because if I just had zoning done, sold a farm, I would be pretty upset.
And again, our attorneys are going to look into it. I believe we've explained a lot of what your concerns are already. It was done prior to Indiana code requiring there to be an interlocal agreement between the county and the municipality. So if that's the case, our hands are tied as well. So I just don't know what else to tell you other than we're going to have to look into it.
And part of it is the ETJ process does feel a little anti-democratic because it's people you're not electing, except for maybe that one board member.
They're not elected. The people on the plan commission are not elected.
Yes, but I'm just saying it's not appointed by elected officials that you've voted for, basically, in that sense, or that are by statute on the plan commission.
The person in that ETJ will have to be appointed by the county commissioners.
There you go.
So that's how it is in Auburn, that's how it is in Butler and Waterloo.
So there'll be one representative
in the county that is appointed by the commissioners. Now that will have to come when we muddle through all this that has just been lost.
But it feels different than having your
There are
county
rules.
plan commission on it. I get that, but it's the way
There are rules that have to, right, that you have to follow when appointments made.
Right. But the ETJ was created by statute and allowed, and it's just.
And legally done.
And the
It
size?
sounds like St. Joe didn't even realize that it had the ETJ or wasn't using it, maybe.
There you go.
As much. I don't know, until recently.
The size of the ETJ is also state statute, right?
That's right. And the county doesn't have any control over that that I'm aware of.
Right.
So we can't say it's huge.
Excuse me, do they have to live in that ETJ or just own property?
Either or.
Either way.
Either or. You want to be on the ETJ board?
I would gladly. I was figuring out how to wait.
Give your name to
town board.
Give your name to a county commissioner so they can have it when they're ready. But
I just wish there was a way that this was done correctly, just to show up at a meeting at a small town with a map this big and just finding out about it. It wasn't done correctly. I understand there was mistakes in the past, but I really even hope the board considers the town of St. Joe of resetting and really thinking about this, because it's going to be really poor on their citizens on the outside of this that are really greatly getting affected. It's not little houses, it's big properties and stuff. So, thank you.
Excuse me, it's unfortunate that a number of individuals have taken, I can appreciate their concern, but like Chris said, we're muddling through. There was not a public notice. We host our board meetings 2 a month when they are. We were not instructed that this was to be, a notice was to be made regarding this situation. It came up. Our attorney is at our meetings always, and we followed his direction in how things were handled. That's why there was no public notice posted or in newspapers or whatever. And I'm going to speak for myself. I've lived in St. Joe for over 20 years. I am not a bad person. Some of you folks I've seen, I've met in different arenas in our community, in our county. I feel bad that there's a scare, that folks feel that there's a scare tactic. They were not informed, but our board can deal with that, approach that, and get with individuals and be better at that communication. Okay. And I will stop and speak with Ben, or maybe have some conversation with Ben when we leave this chamber. Okay. Thank you.
I guess just for my own clarity, Chris, are they saying that this area on this map is the ETJ that was recorded for sure, or that's what they're proposing it be? Okay.
And Chris and I will make sure that we see the recorded document to confirm that.
And they can be up to, each ETJ can be up to a certain distance, but is there like
I think it's 2
miles outside.
Is there somewhere?
This is what was recorded, this is what they have.
Right.
If they would want any more, we would have to then, they would have to amend their comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Which means that then there would have to become an interlocal agreement. They cannot expand this or contract this without there being an amendment to the comprehensive plan.
Okay. See, because it does seem awful large, but
That's the way the legislature created it, so
Correct.
that towns could have some control. It's basically so that towns could have some influence on housing developments coming in on their edges in the county, basically, so that they could control, we want industry here, housing here, industry over here.
And then when it's annexed, if it would get annexed, it needs
City or town standards, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking because St. Joe is so small, the ratio is so different than a bigger city like Fort Wayne. You go to Fort Wayne, go out 2 miles, you're not encompassing that many more acres than there is in the city.
It's only about, in their ordinance, their comp plan. I've got a copy if anyone wants. Was a quarter mile to 1.5.
I didn't want to.
No, I saw you looking at me, so I knew I was doing something wrong. A quarter to 1.5 miles outside of their corporate boundaries, so that's about what it is. And then I had our GIS guys just draw up what 2 miles looks like, and that's past County Road 51, past County Road 52, almost to County Road 71, and south of County Road 68. So what they're quote-unquote taking up, while it may look large compared to the city or the town, that's what theoretically they could have done back in 2011. So just so you all are aware what that 2 miles looks like. Yeah, so anyway, there you go.
Is there any more comment from anybody in the public? Oh, we got another.
Does St. Joe have any plans in the near future to update the comprehensive plan by chance, or? Okay.
We have been doing it. We thought there was one already there, and we were going to resubmit a new one, because Zeb got on the board. Zeb is a business person, Zebulon Bridge. He grew up in St. Joe, lived there all his life. I've lived there all my life, and I'm 60, so. Anyway, what I wanted to ask you is, once we get this, will we be able to have representation on this board? I mean, is that something? Okay. Because I noticed when it first started, everybody said, you know, Garrett had this, Waterloo had this, Auburn had this, but.
And I believe St. Joe has a representative from our planning commission that I can't remember. So theoretically, yes.
Okay.
You could do it, yes, once you have extraterritorial jurisdiction, you could.
But because it is good that I heard what everybody else was doing. That's really nice, and if somebody else is here, they could bring it back to ours and say, this is what they're doing, and this is how they're doing it, so.
It wouldn't be a representative on this board, it would be one of our board here going to.
Their meetings, right.
Like she said, she went to the,
Yeah, we just have like,
we have trains
And
too.
those representatives are not a state, just want the history, are not a state statute requirement. It's something that this plan commission has done just to have
To keep
knowledge,
everybody informed.
to keep everyone
Yes,
informed.
and like I
So
said,
going to the meetings isn't a requirement, or so if someone would go and they're missing one, it's not a requirement, but.
But we also could send the information to one of you guys that you could read here of what we're up to, what we're doing.
Right, yeah, we go, but we're not voting members of each town's.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to say, the board members that are on right now are really looking to improve the town, and the town has improved. I mean, I've lived in the town. My kids grew up there, grandkids were growing up. We had sidewalks that you used to ramp because they were so bad, the trees and everything. So the town looks so much better, and we want to grow. That's our big thing, is we do want to grow. When we started to try and grow, that's when I think all this happened, because we were looking at annexing, and Eric let us know we had a situation, so, okay? But we will get a copy of the original one that was recorded and work from there. Okay? Thank you very much.
if there's no more public comment, we will adjourn.